Hello and welcome back to another episode of Onside Chicks. I am Kaylee Chakosky and I'm here with
Jordyn and Kaylee.
We're back. We're back.
Yes, we are.
Fun things to talk about today. I'm actually kind of excited. It's been like such a busy week for me. I don't know about you. So I feel like I didn't even get to dive into some of this stuff. Like I would see it kind of on and off. And then I was like, I really got to dive in today preparing for the show. And I was like, oh, this is dope.
Yes. And I almost texted you Monday a little nervous because like nothing was happening. And I was like, what else are we going to fill the show with? And then Tuesday, it was like a roller coaster. Everything just started ricocheting. So now there's a lot for us to dive into.
There is. We'll start. Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with Jadeveon Clowney? Do we want to start?
Well, yeah, that's the most recent. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start Jadeveon Clowney because I don't know. Whoever tuned in to our show about Jadeveon Clowney, you're welcome.
Yeah,
you're welcome for the expert, the expert analysis on where he was going to end up. Well, you can pay us now. But yeah, so he signed a 1-year deal with the Cleveland Browns worth up to $10 million. I feel like this is big, right?
Yes, this is huge because last year, we were just talking about this. Last year, he got a 1-year, $13 million deal with the Titans. But then we literally talked about this in the episode. His stock went down. He had 19 tackles, no sacks. Like he just wasn't the Jadeveon Clowney that we're used to seeing. So I had a feeling he was going to end up on a team, but I was not expecting this big of a deal for him after the season that he just had.
Yeah, and that was the thing is we did talk about Cleveland wanting him last year.
Mm-hmm.
Due to COVID, he wasn't able to get in the facility into Cleveland and really meet anyone face to face. And I think when you're coming out of, a situation where you've been, and obviously his draft or his trade stock coming out of Houston was huge, right? Like he was just the guy, right? And I think for him being able to physically go see facilities, feel the culture, meet coaches, especially in Cleveland where things kind of were up and down and changing and coaching staffs were kind of shuffling in. I think not being able to meet with him really kind of ended all of the deal talks that were going on with him and the Browns last year. So I feel like this is a huge win for them. Probably if I don't want to be dramatic, but definitely one of the best deals of the offseason so far.
I think so. It's definitely top 5. Without question. Because think about it. Now you have him, and he said it himself, and he's like, I always am in double coverage. Like, now you have Myles Garrett alongside him. Like, that defense is just going to be filthy, and now it's going to be scary to go up against them because you have these two incredible guys. And I'm honestly hoping, we also just talked about this right before the show started, the culture in Cleveland is changing, and it's changing. They lacked identity for a very long time. And now it seems like they're finally getting into a groove and they're moving in that right direction. So making moves like this just add to that. And I think he fits it well. I'm hoping that having Myles Garrett there with him, will motivate him and bring him back to the guy that we saw in Houston. And hopefully it's scary and it's exciting to watch.
Yeah, I think this team is hungry. They're really fun and they've always kind of been fun to watch. But like you said, you have a lot of talent, you have a lot of names, but their identity was what was missing. And I feel like we kind of saw that, especially right at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. They had just super dominant, crazy game. But at the same time, just being able to split duties with Myles Garrett is huge because Myles Garrett's a guy who constantly talks about getting double teamed. Obviously, Clowney is the same type of talent on the line where people are really focused on him. They're pulling 2 guys over there. So to have these guys be able to split that up, I'm very excited. No one in their division should be excited.
No.
At all.
It's going to be tough. And I'm going to be honest. I know you love the Browns. You are a fan of the Browns. But this was a team that I had a hard time rooting for. I couldn't feel it. I couldn't get behind it. And now, towards the end of last season, this move, I don't know. I'm getting excited to watch them. I love everything that they're doing. I think they are making all of the right moves to make it to that next level. Because this season, they were good. like they were stronger than they've been, but they still didn't have like that oomph that they needed. And I think now they're getting that. So this is so weird for me to say. I'm going to get so much hate from my friends who heard me like diss them all season, but I am
last episode when you dissed them too.
I know. And now, well, I'm a fan of Jadeveon Clowney minus Seahawks versus Eagles playoff game.
Yeah.
We take that out. I just like it. Like I like, not that I like dirty players. Like I'm not going to say that, but I like when they have that edge. Like I like his vibe. Like I like everything about him. So with that being said, and I love Myles Garrett. So who knows? Maybe I will somewhat like the Browns this season because I am getting hyped for them.
Look, it's all about growth. And I'll tell you, as I get older, I find myself saying I'm a fan of almost every team in this league.
Yes.
Just because I think I don't ever want to say I'm a fan of a player because there's nothing I can't relate to more than someone who's like, I'm a LeBron James fan. And I'm like, what? Like, you good, bro? Like they own like every jersey he's ever been in with every team he's ever been with. And I'm just like, that's something I cannot relate to. Like I'm a big team person, but also I just think the way that the narratives, the cultures, like you're seeing these teams come together and you're getting to know players in a way that you weren't able to just with social media, and they have so much personality. So I feel like the older I get, like it's a true sign of growth that I just like almost every team in the league to some extent.
No, when I was in high school and I like decided, I was like, yep, I'm going to be in sports media. All I really knew was the Eagles. And that's what I devoted all of my time. Like that was all I knew. And like, I felt weird at first, like getting excited for other teams. And now I'm at the point where like every single game, there's something to root for and there's something to be excited about. So it's a sign of maturity. We're growing up.
It is. Look at us.
Yeah.
Growth. Yeah. But yeah. So, good on us. Predicted this. Love that for us. We are 1 in probably 10 at this point. Who knows? We're not tracking because
we
God
should.
Forbid. We should.
Especially now that we got one right. We'll start with this one. We're 1 for 1.
Yeah, I feel like we should do like mock drafts, maybe first round, and then post them so people can see them. But we're definitely gonna do week by week picks when the season starts.
I love it.
So that'll be a thing. But yeah, stay tuned. But let's talk Julian Edelman because this was I feel like every week we have like this heart-wrenching thing happen. It was Drew Brees, it was whatever, and now it's Julian Edelman retiring. 12 years with the Patriots, his entire career, 3 Super Bowls. We'll discuss the Hall of Fame stuff.
I can't
after this, but I am very impressed with how this was done, both on his end, but also by the team.
Yes, because
obviously they cut him due to failed physical. He's been injured up and down, but the real reason for this is so he can collect about $2 million of his base salary through the NFL's essentially like injury protection benefit program. So he's essentially going to collect his base salary of this year, even though he's retiring. And I think that speaks volumes to the kind of person he was, the impact he had on this franchise, the impact he had on not only the front office, but the coaching staff, the players, and the fans. So I don't know. It's very heartwarming. Like there's not a lot of negativity around this story, which I like.
Yeah, no, he's like, let's look at it he turns 35 next month. Like he's up there for a receiver. He only played 6 games last year because of injury. He's had his career and now like Brady's gone, Gronk's like all of the guys that he really got to like celebrate those big moments with, they're all off doing other things now. So I think he just sat back. He was like, this is best for me. This is best for my family. And I'm going to be honest though. I first saw on Twitter, it was like Julian Edelman's contract was terminated due to a failed physical. My immediate reaction was like, oh my God, he's going to end up on the Bucs. Because that was literally where I was like, that's where he's going. Just because that seemed to be the trend. I was like, is this really what's happening right now? I tweeted it out. Evan tweeted back to me and was like, no. So sorry, Evan. That's literally where my mind first went. And then it was like 20 minutes later, it was like, this is a retirement. Like this is for his retirement. This is to help him. And then I got sad and then he posted Foxborough forever. So really the whole thing was extremely wholesome. I think it was the right timing for him. I couldn't see him coming out this season, especially with the way the team's changing too. I think they're just like moving in like a rebuild situation. So I think it worked out best for everybody, and it was just super wholesome.
It was wholesome. I think everyone saw this coming, and I think they wanted to give it as much time as possible to develop. And if he was going to play, or he could play, then he would have played. But I think they saw it coming, right? You saw it. They spent a lot of money, and to be fair, they spent money all over the field at every position on their team, like, essentially. But
crafted a new team,
right? But they got guys like Kendrick Bourne. They went out and got Nelson Aguilar. So I think those are kind of moves that indicate, here's an insurance policy. And here's an insurance policy because on the inside of this organization, you know that this is most likely going one of two ways, and the most likely way is retirement. Yeah. Now, I, for one, never really thought that he was going to end up on the Bucs. Like, I know that was the hot button topic as soon as he announced it, but I was just kind of like, I dissected Tom Brady's Instagram post, obviously, because I was like, if anyone is going to make a joke or a sly comment about him going to Tampa Bay, it's going to be Tom Brady. Yeah. Exactly, because he's like Florida Brady now. He's that guy who would post a joke in an Instagram caption because apparently he's social medias now. And so, I just expected him to throw in like, see ya, you would look great in red, or something dumb, right? Like, I expected him to just come in and really make a joke. But I think he hit on, his family and what's next for him. And Julian Edelman is a guy who does have, off the field ventures going on. He's got his own stuff going on. He's got a family now. He's a very different guy than he was, even 2-3 years ago in this league. So this move seems great for him. Now, the question that people can't let anyone have anything, right? Like, I mean, he retires and in a matter of days, we're already arguing over whether he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm just like, let it breathe.
Yes.
Let him retire, please.
Like we just said, like, he went out in like a graceful way. Like, it was on both ends and just a great way to like, great career, great way to end it. And then all of a sudden, immediate and somehow, how did this turn into an Eli Hall of Fame argument as well? Like, it's Julian Edelman that retired. Why is Eli like one of the top trends in this right now? Like, I don't understand how we went from like, oh, great receiver, great career, to let's fight over him and let's fight over Eli. Like,
it's also, why are we comparing? Like, that's one of my biggest pet peeves about sports fans in general. Back to the like LeBron James, Michael Jordan thing. I'm like, can we just admit that they're both the best players of all time at their respective generation or era in the league? And that's kind of how I feel about this. There's so many people. Did you see LaShawn McCoy?
Yes.
Okay. He went off, but I'm like, why is this about you? Like, I get he's probably close to retirement as well. So keeping that in mind, maybe this is something that's already on his mind, but I don't know, to be like Julian Edelman doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, but I, on the other hand, do. Yeah. And then like, okay.
Shady.
Quite literally. But yeah, first of all, he contradicted his point. He was like, well, his regular season stats don't match up with his postseason stats. But then when he was making the case for himself, he's like, not to mention my postseason performances and my 2 Super Bowls. And I was like, oh, they matter for you.
Julian Edelman, the only person that is above him in postseason receptions is Jerry Rice. Like you can't knock Julian Edelman's postseason production. Like, it's unbelievable. But
state your case. Go ahead.
All right. All right. I've been waiting for this moment. I've been fighting with people all week. It's been my favorite. It's really been like what's gotten me here. So I personally don't think off the bat Julian Edelman should be a Hall of Fame receiver. I think you can make the case, like, you had guys like T.O., who, one, I will say, should have been in much earlier than he did. But like, he waited forever to get inducted. So maybe down the road, the only requirement that I am asking before Julian Edelman ever does, if he ever does get inducted, I want Chad Ochocinco in the Hall of Fame before Julian Edelman.
Yes.
Just because that is well deserved. The only reason he isn't is just, honestly, to be brutally honest, his relationship with the media. Yeah. That's the only reason he is not in the Hall of Fame, because numbers, his production on the field, the way he changed the position, like, you cannot look at that and say he is not a Hall of Fame receiver. Julian Edelman, on the other hand, is not that guy. He worked great on the Patriots. Him and Tom Brady had a great relationship. Like, I'm not going to sit there and say he didn't have a great career, but this is the Hall of Fame. This isn't the Hall of Very Good, and that's what he is. And, like, his postseason, absolutely incredible, but Tyreek has 17 more touchdowns than him, and he's only been in the league for 5 years. Like, he was great on this team, but overall, comparing him to other receivers in the league over decades, like, he just doesn't match up. So you can make the argument. I get it. He's a 3-time Super Bowl winner. He was Super Bowl MVP, his postseason stats. I see it, but I just can't wrap my head around it, especially when Hines Ward is not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So and Julian Edelman can't be until these guys are. It just doesn't seem fair to me.
I feel you. I have the same feeling. And I think right now, the people that are arguing very hard to make the case of him belonging there are really just, we're in this moment where he's been such a fixture in the NFL for 12 years, right? So we don't know the NFL. Most of us, I guess our generation, I mean, 12 years ago, yeah, I was watching football, but like the times that I was talking about it and living and breathing it,
Julian Edelman was there.
Yeah, he's been there, right? And so I think it's going to be the same, and not the same because Tom Brady is going to be a Hall of Famer regardless. But
we're not even have to converse it; like, it's just going to happen,
right? And it's going to be hard. It's going to be equally as hard when that happens because you're so used to him being the NFL, right? So, and I think Julian Edelman is kind of the same, where we're so used to hearing his name. Obviously, the Patriots dominated for most of his career. So he's used to being a big name. We're used to seeing him, hearing him, all of that. And I think right now it's so fresh. But when we look back at the end of next season, or maybe in a couple years, I don't know. I think it's a great success story. I think it's phenomenal. It's like we said, it's very wholesome. He's a 7th round draft pick. He was a quarterback at Kent State, came in, played wide receiver, never done that before. Then he's returning punts. Like, great success story, fantastic, heartwarming, wholesome.
He won them the Super Bowl against the Falcons. Like, and then he was MVP against he has had an excellent career. And like, me saying he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame isn't like taking from that at all.
No.
Like, we can all sit here and acknowledge how great of an athlete he is, how great of a person, how great of a teammate. But when you're looking at Hall of Fame receivers, like, this is like the highest honor. Yeah. And I just, numbers wise, I just don't see it.
I'm not seeing it. I'm just also too, like, when you look at the Patriots, it's not like they were overwhelmed with talent, right? They were never that team. They were never the big spenders. They kind of made what they had work, and the system worked more than the talent itself worked. Yes. Obviously Tom Brady is, like we said, an exception to that. But I think for the most part, like, he was never really competing with that many receivers. Like, there were guys in and out, obviously, but he was a steady fixture, a guy that Tom Brady trusted, a guy that he liked. But at the end of the day, like, you're not putting up numbers that showcase that. So I think that's kind of my main thing. I think he's really good at doing his job, but until you're exceptional and you exceed every expectation for your position, I don't know that the Hall of Fame conversation belongs.
No, I agree with that. If anything, I think this just makes the case more for Tom Brady being one of the best quarterbacks ever. The fact that, like, if Julian Edelman was with any other quarterback for his entire career, I don't even know if he would have accomplished half as much as he did. Because the argument that people are saying is 3-time Super Bowl champion, I don't think they would have done that without Brady. You can't do that without Brady. So the fact that he is literally in this conversation because of all that literally just emphasizes Tom Brady's talent and his importance. So another Tom Brady compliment.
I know. You hate to see it, but
I know.
I don't know. It's a fun conversation to have, but I'm also just going to say, let's let him have retirement. Let's let us have his retirement, because we're all arguing about everything. Can we just enjoy his video, his sentiment?
So, like, I was like teary-eyed.
I know. And I'm like, I have no reason to be emotional about
nothing for the Patriots. And yet watching Julian Edelman, Foxborough Forever, retiring has me like nearly in tears.
You know what I will say? I think overall in life, I'm a big crier. Don't get me wrong. Like I'll do like
all
a car. Yeah, I cry all the time, like shower cries, car cries. It's not as sad as it sounds, okay? It just is the fact of it's just but things don't make me cry. Like movies, shows, like real life stories don't make me cry the way sports do. Like I will say that I think when the draft comes around, I have the tissues ready because when they do the stories or like when Deshaun Watson read the letter from his mom, I was a mess.
Yes.
Like I can't contain myself. Anytime it's a sports story or an athlete story, don't talk to me.
Draft stories last year they brought up like every single person in their family that has ever died. And I'm like, why are all of these so heartbreaking?
Well, last year they had to make it that way because it was virtual. So they had to give some sort of like, you had to make up for the fact that it was weird and awkward and like Zoom meeting feel by making it extra emotional. So on top of being like, we, are sending all these messages to first responders and stay strong, America. Because you have to remember, this was a month after everything started.
In the heart of everything.
Yeah, so it was fresh. So we're all emotional anyways. And then on top of that, you're adding all of this stuff about how like we're sticking together and we're all performative or not.
Yeah.
They're doing it. I'm crying. And then you get the draft stories of these kids and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
No, it was very overwhelming. And like I am like, and I'm a Taylor Swift person too. Like that just shows like, so like I cry over like, and if I step on an ant, like I'll cry. Like I am just that. So all these like everything just gets to me and it hits me so hard. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Happy stories, sad stories. I'll sob to anything.
Dude. So I want to say a month after Drew Brees' last game, a solid month, right? Yeah. Not that long ago. I was sourcing images for work of Drew Brees, and the most recent photos, given the fact that obviously they don't take a lot of photos off the field, were him walking out of the Superdome.
The kiss and the look back.
The look back, the wave, the look up, the tears in the eyes. I was sitting at my desk crying over these photos that I had seen multiple times. I watched the game. I watched it happen live. I had come to terms with the fact that he would probably be retiring, and I was still sitting there sobbing.
Yep.
I was like, this is not okay.
When he announced his retirement, I was drunk in Applebee's drinking margaritas with my friend who knows absolutely nothing about football. And I'm sitting there crying at Applebee's. And I was like, Drew Brees just retired. And my friend's like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
It matters. Okay. It's a big deal.
Cry with me.
Yeah. No, I get emotional over everything. So this is no exception to that. I'm going to watch it 400 times.
Oh, yeah.
When I want to get in my feels. It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's
fine.
Yeah. I like how it's two people that are super emotional telling each other it's fine to just
fine.
Like, yeah, it's 100% normal.
I love how I'm like, I cry all the time, like in the shower, in the car, like every day. And you're just like, that's me too. And I'm like, people listening are probably like, people listening are probably like, see a therapist.
Yeah.
Right? Not okay.
For help.
Yeah. This isn't okay. All right. Well,
here's something we don't have to cry over.
On that note,
let's move out of this before we get any more depressing. James Conner to the Arizona Cardinals.
Love this.
This was something we talked about. This was one, Jadeveon Clowney, you especially, you called this. We were all hype on that. James Conner, we were super unsure what was going to happen to him just because I just don't trust him injury-wise. If he's healthy, he's a great guy to have. He's a great back. And Arizona, they lost Kenyon Drake. They needed depth. But, like, I don't know. I'm happy about this just because I'm happy for them. He's next to a young guy. Like, I think this could be really good. What do you think?
Yeah, I like this. I like him and Chase Edmonds together. I think they're going to bring out personality-wise the best in one another. And I think they are really going to be able to drive this kind of tone of the offense that I think was a little bit lacking last year, if I have to say it nicely. I think another team where they have all this talent, all this potential. I think they were so many people's dark horse picks for the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season, but fell flat. And I think a lot of that had to do with identity. So I think this is a great move for them. I think for him, like when you look at what Cliff Kingsbury is trying to do there, he's really making these guys be pass catching backs. So I think that works out well for him because that is exactly what he did in Pittsburgh, right? He caught 80-something% of his passes, right? And that's crazy. So he's a running back catching 81 or 2% of his targets. So this is a perfect situation for him. It's a perfect scheme for him. He gets to reunite with his position coach, James Saxon.
Mhm.
So for him, this really is good vibes all around so far. But I also think for them too, right? Because this frees them up. They're sitting at number 16 in the draft. So for them, now they can address one of their other needs without trying to clamor for the top running back or trying to fill a spot. Now they can really take the best available in the draft, which I think just opens up their opportunities a lot more.
Absolutely. And they said him and Edmonds are going to be splitting reps. And I also think that helps because now Edmonds gets the chance to kind of learn from James Conner, who's been in the league, it's great to like kind of build him up, but then also you're taking some of the pressure off James Conner because we've talked about it. The Steelers lack in the running back position right now. I think now having him, he's gone, they can go for this now and they know what they have to work on. So now for him, you're splitting the reps. You don't have to worry as much. Like all of the weight isn't on your shoulders, which honestly, even that factor alone could help him like open up because it's not as stressful. Like, you have options. I think it's going to work really well. I'm super excited for them this season. I remember when JJ Watt first went there, I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, I didn't understand it. I didn't see it coming. And now I just think this team is coming together so strong. I'm not going to sit here and say they're making a Super Bowl run this season, but I think they're going to be, they could. I'm not saying they can't, but I love them. This is going to be one of the teams that I get super excited about.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch them. I think this is fun. I just think, like you said, when you take the pressure off, I kind of think about it similar to what OBJ dealt with in Cleveland when they tried to make him be everything, right? Like you catch one-handed catch in a game and then suddenly you have to be like the guy who does everything.
Yeah.
And I think that was a huge mistake, which they realized. And since they've kind of pulled back the expectations and really allowed him to kind of stay in his lane, do what he does best, and just do his job, right? Like play your role and play it well. And I think that's worked out really well for him. And I think that goes across the board. When you let these guys, when you take all that pressure off and you just say, hey, do what you do really well, right? Like be the best James Conner you can be because that's the guy who's going to come in and win you games. I think that it just allows him to be way more relaxed. It's going to allow them to have this 1-2 punch, which is really going to give each guy a clear role of when they're going to come in the game, what that workload looks like, what to expect. They don't have to. I also think this is helpful for his injury history, right? Because you're taking all that pressure off. And to be fair, he missed one game in 2020. So we're on the right track trajectory-wise. But yeah, I just think it's a good situation all around. I think there's still some non-believers in the Cardinals, but I'm going to tell you, I'm excited. I'm going to say, I say they get a sneaky little ticket to the postseason.
Go on a playoff run. I would fully support it 100%. Especially in the NFC, we say this division is the toughest in football, especially it's brutal because I feel like all of the teams in there, they're all on that same level of like good and they're all playoff teams. They all could be Super Bowl dark horse. Like you just don't know. There's so much talent there. So that I think imagine if this team was in the NFC East. Bam. Immediate playoffs. So that's the only thing that I think could throw a wrench in there. But I fully believe in them. I'm all in on the Cardinals right now. I love them.
Yeah, I'm here for it. And I think it's fun because, and we can use this to transition to our next topic, but I think it's really fun because this opens their draft up a ton. And for them, they're a very I don't want to say receiver needy team because they do have Larry Fitzgerald as their one. They've got AJ Green now. Who's a fine too, but I do think they need like a young guy to bring in. And
they have the love of my life, DeAndre Hopkins.
That's true too.
I know you said I am one of those people for DeAndre Hopkins. Watching him play, I just think he is so incredible. The way he moves, I am in all of him and his whole story, everything, I just love everything about him as a person, as a player. So I root for him no matter what, always. Even if he plays against my Eagles, I was like, I don't even care as long as DeAndre Hopkins does well. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to go on my little DeAndre Hopkins rant.
You know what I love about him too is what did he do when he caught that incredible catch last season? He went and like sold the freaking pictures, the moments, the gloves, and he like monetized the crap out of it. He posted on social, and then he was like the best caption for this wins or whatever. So he's just a guy who knows how to interact with fans, and I always appreciate that in an athlete. So
he's
love that for him.
A great person. 10 out of 10. DeAndre Hopkins. I'm your number one fan.
Yeah. But I do think like with those guys on that team, right? I don't know how long AJ Green will be there. I think Larry Fitzgerald's obviously great. But I could see them taking a receiver in the first round, especially kind of with the guys that are there. But yeah, this just opens them up. So I'm excited to see what they do. 16 is a weird spot to be in for the draft. It's not super ideal, but I think this allows them to not stress as much. They get to take best available and whatever that is for them. I know they need quite a few things. They need some defensive help. They also could use a new wide receiver. So we'll see. But yeah, fun. They're a fun team.
But yeah, no, let's get into last week. We focused mainly top quarterbacks, where we think that we're going to go, where they are going to go. So now we can focus on receivers because this is a very quarterback heavy draft. There is also a lot of receiver talent.
A ton, yeah.
And like, I think you can kind of separate it to like top tier and bottom tier, but like in that top, like you can kind of rotate, and it honestly is going to come down to what guy best fits a team and like, who's left and where your team is at. Because like, I think we can all say Ja'Marr Chase is probably like above the level above everybody else because he's kind of the whole package. But then you have guys like Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle who realistically both have pros and cons, and it's just going to come down to whether or not they're available, what team needs them. And then like if they're both there, it's going to be like, all right, well, who's best going to fit our scheme? And like I think that's just what it's going to come down to, because I don't think you can go wrong with either of those two guys.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really hard to predict what these draft picks are going to be. I think you can kind of look scheme wise, but I think so many things have changed with these top teams that are drafting, right? Like a lot of these teams are just changing in the way where we don't necessarily know what they're going to look like. Like they could be a brand new team when they come out. Yeah. So I think, like you said, there's just no number one guy. Like maybe there is a number one guy, but I feel like these guys could all go in the top 10. Some of them could fall to the end of the first round. Some of them could fall to the second round. Yeah. And I wouldn't be that surprised because there's so many needs for these teams at so many different positions. But similar to quarterbacks, I mean, besides Trevor Lawrence, all those guys are going to be fit specific, right? Like
they're all great.
Yeah. So they're all great in their own unique ways. But where do you want to start on this list?
I think let's start with Ja'Marr Chase, just because I think he's going to be the first one to go with everything I've been looking at, with the way everything seems to be falling. Now, I do want to preface, I still think there's still going to be some movement with draft order.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that I could see happening. One, I don't think the Falcons are lasting at 4. I just can't see it. With the way they're so open about trading back, there is going to be a team that gets desperate and needy and gives up too much, and the Falcons get lucky and take it. Yeah. Like, I just can't. If you say you're open to trading back, someone is going to make the move and make it happen.
Yeah.
So I can't see the Falcons lasting at 4. If anything, I can see the Patriots or the Broncos. You talked a lot about the Broncos last week. I can see either of them moving up to that number 4 spot. But I also saw a lot of talk between the Lions and the Broncos switching 7 and 9. And I think that would be a great move too, especially if the Patriots sneak up to 4. So there's still a lot that could happen. There's a lot on the table. So like, it's a lot of like, if this happens, then this person falls here. But overall, I have a feeling it's going to be, my gut reaction is telling me it's going to be quarterback 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
Bengals at 5. If you don't take
Penny Sewell,
you have to, especially after Joe Burrow's injury. So now that wipes off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right off the table. Mm-hmm. Like I can honestly see Ja'Marr Chase being the first receiver to go and not going until number 8 on the Panthers.
Yeah, I could see that as well. I think you look at these teams that are sitting there, right? And where is my even draft order? Yeah, I mean, so the Dolphins, could go either way. The Lions, the Panthers, like all of those teams, like you look at this list, right? Like just 1 through 20. There's so many teams on here that need a wide receiver, but also need other stuff.
Exactly.
So I don't know, but I could see that.
And especially if all the trades that I'm thinking could potentially happen, that's all going to be quarterback and offensive lineman. If Kyle Pitts is still available for the Dolphins at 6, that's the guy they're going to take. I have no doubt in my mind. If he is, and I will love it because we know I could sit here and talk for an hour straight about Kyle Pitts and how hype I am to see him in the league. If he's not going to fall to my Eagles, I want him on the Dolphins because they are my number 2. I love this team. I'm telling you right now, if he goes there, immediate jersey purchase. Like, no hesitation, I'm buying it on the spot. So that I would love to see. And that's why I think there is a chance Ja'Marr Chase falls. I think that he would be great on the Panthers, especially now they got Sam Darnold. You get him this new young receiver who is insanely talented. I just think it'd be a good fit. And then after that, it's kind of just, it's going to be this draft. Like we talked about it, especially with this postseason too. We wanted a exciting offseason. And I want to say, I want the draft to be just as exciting. Like I want the 3rd overall pick to be something like super random that just throws everything off. But then also I'm super nervous for that because then it throws everything off and I'm going to be anxiety ridden all night.
It's tough. I like this guy. I mean, I think like you said, he could really go to any of these teams and he'd be great. He's very much your classic receiver. He's going to go up. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to contest. He's going to win contested catches. He's going to run and he's going to get yards after the catch. And he reminds me so much of DeAndre Hopkins, which I think is funny why we just talked about your affinity for DeAndre Hopkins. And then you're like, love Ja'Marr Chase. I'm like, that makes sense. Because like when I see him, he's very Hopkins-esque in the way he plays. And I think the same will be said about his fit with whatever team he ends up on. But yeah, I like him. I don't know. I think he could go anywhere. And that's honestly, spoiler alert, what I'm going to say about a lot of these guys, because like I said, I don't know. And I think there's, like guys that I know the Dolphins have mentioned Ja'Marr Chase as far as liking him a lot. They love him. They've looked at him a lot. Again, I feel like anything could happen. So he could definitely go there. But like you said, he could definitely fall. And we have no clue. So
no, it's going to be, especially because like we've talked about this too, like 49ers traded up. They're now at 3rd overall. I think they kind of control what direction the draft goes in, because if they surprise us all and they take either Ja'Marr Chase or Kyle Pitts, like do something, then all of a sudden you have an extra quarterback available. Like everything gets shifted. So it's literally going to come down to draft. So I can sit here and give you an entire prediction. We'll do our mock drafts and I'll give you all of my thoughts, but realistically, everything is going to change because there are so many directions that all these teams could go in.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's just going to come down to need. And I've seen a lot of mock drafts where the Bengals take Ja'Marr Chase and they totally which I don't think is best for them. Like protect Joey, please. Like, there's so much that could happen, but I think no matter what, like you said, he's just that complete package receiver that any team is going to be lucky to get him because he just kind of comes. He already looks like he's NFL ready. So I'm excited for wherever he ends up, wherever that may be.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Cincinnati is one I saw as well too. And I think that is so much storyline just coming down to like LSU with LSU and really wanting that kind of storybook,
And I totally get that.
I get it.
But like, if this was any other year where the quarterback talent wasn't so through the roof and there wasn't so much of it, Sewell's the kind of guy that could go and should go like number 1 overall. Like that's not something
you can't walk away from.
Yeah, especially when like you need someone like that.
Yeah, it's exactly what you need and the best possible guy probably within 5 years of NFL drafts that you're going to get at that position. So to walk away from that just because look, they're classmates or they played together. How fun. I don't see that happening, but I do see, I think Miami's really would be good for him. I think there's probably some other guys that might fit their scheme a little better, but I mean, it'd be fun. The only thing is I do think he needs like a really kind of structured quarterback, like a quarterback who is a little more veteran status, a little more comfortable making those big plays or has the leeway to make those big plays. Not to say that Miami won't allow that to happen because that, things can change. We've seen such a small sample size of what they are at the quarterback position and who they are and what that scheme looks like on offense. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see him with a little more, I guess, years and experience in a quarterback. But I mean, you're not really going to get that besides, I mean, maybe in Detroit, but even then, I mean.
And there is like where I'm hyping all this up, Ja'Marr Chase is going to be, there's a chance that a team just totally falls in love with Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle and like takes them. There's so much. I think Ja'Marr Chase probably should, just because like there are not, I don't even want to say red flags with Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, but like they just don't seem as complete as he is.
Yeah. And I think let's dive into those.
Okay.
We can start with Devontae Smith. And my main reason for kind of just being, and I'm not immune to it because I definitely kind of came into this offseason just kind of being like, they're all right, you know? And they're fine. They're great. Like, obviously that team is fantastic, clearly. But I just think the main thing there is that when you look at the system that Smith and Waddle were in, as far as having a stacked wide receiver room, having a stacked offense, that ball gets spread around. Ja'Marr Chase didn't necessarily have that. He was way more relied upon than these two were individually. So I think that plays into it, right? I just don't think we saw everything that we would have wanted to see out of Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. I think Jalen Waddle more so. The guy that we just didn't see enough of, but what we did see was extremely impressive. And coming out of Alabama, it's not, it's a strong, safe gamble to take on a wide receiver. But Devontae Smith, to me, in my head, he's my number one just because of the style, the way he plays. I like that.
No, that's actually crazy you say that because I was super nervous. I was going to say there's so much about Jalen Waddle. I like Devontae Smith more than Jalen Waddle. Like, I think he could go before him. So, and I was nervous to say that. So I'm very glad that we were on the same page there. And I think people are going to be scared of him because they're like, he's skinny. And I'm like, yeah, but then you see guys like Robbie Anderson, who are literally the size of my pinky finger, who are coming out and like he can still like break tackles. He doesn't drop the ball. Like, there is so much there that I just think he needs. And like, put him in a way he can put on. That's something that you can fix. Like,
that's what happens.
You get it. Exactly. So I'm like, that's not something that should be deterring you from taking him. Like,
yeah. And I think too, you haven't seen any effects from his size, right? And I think that's the thing is when you think about what they challenged him to do in Alabama, like, not only did they run him in the slot, they ran him as a wideout, they ran him in the Z position. They pretty much put him in every role that you can put him in, and he dominated. He killed everybody, right?
So, like, I'm so excited that we both are excited about him.
I love him. Him. He's a small guy. He plays aggressively. He plays physically. He wins contested catches. Statistically, he's a guy that gets yards after the run. He breaks tackles. He does those things consistently, game in and game out. And I just think it's very interesting that he's not higher on the list of most people. Like, I have seen, those rogue few who are coming in to defend him, but I just think, he can do so many things as good or better than a lot of these guys on this list. He's very Stephon Diggs. If I had to compare him to anyone, he's just a very, like, he's just dynamic. I like him. Like, every challenge he faced at Alabama, he overcame, and then he was able to dominate opponents. You saw him. It's almost like people didn't realize that he was being shifted around and used in a different way every game because he was performing at the same level, right? And usually when you do that, especially to college players, you see a huge drop off in productivity, or you see a huge spike depending on what the move is. And for him to be able to move so seamlessly between all of those positions, all those roles, and do his job every single week, it's extremely impressive. And I think he's a guy that is going to fall way lower than he should. And honestly, when we were talking about Arizona and the Cardinals and what they might need, this is a guy that screams Cardinals to me.
I'll fight him.
My
Eagles now.
I mean, look, they're picking 12, so it could definitely happen.
I have a feeling if Jalen Waddle is there, I feel like they'd take him.
Yeah.
Which is
Jalen
fine.
Waddle
Like,
sounds like a Philadelphia Eagle.
Yes.
Is that just me? There's like
no, I can totally see that.
I can see his name on the Eagles jersey, and I don't know if it's just me, but that's how I visualize things. I'm like, can I envision that person playing with this team?
No, I'm still falling asleep at night dreaming about Pitts in an Eagles jersey. Like,
what are the off? Can you imagine? But knowing my luck, this would happen. We have like that perfect draft. Everything falls into place where Pitts just keeps falling and falling. He's available for the Eagles, and then they don't take him. Like that would happen.
Either way, I feel like after the Eagles pick, okay, there's a handful of scenarios that are going to happen on draft night for you, and it's either going to be one, Kyle Pitts is there, they take him, you're offline. You are celebrating, you're done, you're done. Your life is made. Kyle Pitts is there, they don't take him, done. Don't talk to you.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts goes early, and they pick a Jalen Waddle or someone else, and you're fine. You're fine.
Or they go completely rogue and all of them, and then they take a quarterback. So this draft is going to be very interesting for me.
I'm very excited. But Jalen Waddle, I mean, I'm not upset about that if that's what they were to do.
Yes.
Another guy I could also see go to the Cardinals. So I think he could fall. I think he's either going to go too high or he's going to fall. And there's going to be no in between.
And there's also there's guys like Elijah Moore who I think are going to fall that are also very not being talked about, like a dark horse.
Yeah.
I see him in some first rounds, but not most. And I think watching him, I like him. Like there's something about him. He makes tough catches. He's great at breaking tackles. Like there's something there that I feel like is going to transfer well into the NFL, which is something that doesn't always happen.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's so many of these receivers specifically, like Bateman's another one that comes to mind, but a lot of these guys that just to me aren't necessarily number one receivers. So you're not going to see them go to teams that need that really solid number one receiver on their roster. They're probably going to look and try to do more, or they already have.
Titans could use someone like these guys.
Maybe. They're sitting at 22 though. So that's tough.
They would and there are these guys are guys that could fall in the second round, but I think the talent is there.
Yeah.
To produce and do maybe not be your number one guy, but have that backup and that security. You can run these extra plays and you have these guys there.
Yeah. And I think a lot of these top guys that we've just been talking about, I don't want to say a lot of them, but I do think a handful of them will end up on teams that are a little more ready to make that push into a postseason and probably go there for the first time in a while. And there's a lot of those teams on the board, right? There's a lot of those teams that we've been talking about that need that one piece or that one missing thing that we just can't put our fingers on. And I think these guys might be those missing pieces, or at least they might think that they're going to be those missing pieces and take them. So I think it'll be interesting. But yeah, I don't know that any of these guys, besides maybe the top one or two, are going to come out and immediately be the face of the franchise at the receiver position. But I do think a lot of them, I think there's going to definitely be some bargain shopping. I could see some of these guys falling to 2 and whatever team gets them just cashing out during the season, because I think that always happens. So, and those are storylines I love.
Yes, those are my favorite. It's especially you have guys like DK Metcalf and I hate to keep bringing up the Eagles, but we get a lot of hate. We didn't take DK Metcalf. I even say it all the time. I'm we could have had DK Metcalf, but everybody could have had DK Metcalf.
You know how many people could have had Patrick Mahomes? Come on now. Come on.
And the Justin Jefferson one, I can be pretty pissed about because
That's fair.
But DK, every team could have had DK, and see, they just got lucky. They just took a chance and it paid off big time.
It also, guys like that, and I think there's going to be guys, in every draft, you're going to have guys that do something amazing. This year it's different because DK Metcalf, his combine performance was so strong where he kind of wasn't on anyone's radar besides just being a ginormous human being. But then you see his 40-yard and you're just oh, a ginormous fast human being.
No, I am convinced he's a robot. I don't know how he's real. Like, I don't know how he does the things he does. It really perplexes me because, like, how? Genuinely, how? How are you all muscle? Like, how do you move that quickly?
He's got to be like 5% body fat, if that.
It literally defies every like law of physics. Everything that we like, it doesn't make any sense how he's as talented as he is.
It makes no sense. He's one of my favorite Instagram follows. He doesn't do anything interesting. I love just seeing his posts.
Yes. No, he is amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that's the thing, right? Is in every draft, there's going to be a guy that people are like, could have had that guy, should have taken that guy. Hindsight is 2020 when it comes to the draft, always. Patrick Mahomes is a perfect example of that because the amount of teams that could have had him is almost every team in this league.
Yep.
So let's just put that into perspective. And if anyone had known or had the foresight, then he would have gone number 1 overall. But unfortunately, that's not it. That's not the case. But do you have any other wide receivers you want to mention?
No, I think I hit all of my top guys. I'm going to make the case, Elijah Moore.
Go, please.
So that's my case. Yeah, no, I feel like I just have very good vibes around him. And like he's being talked about, he's in conversations, but like he's not up there with Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase. Like those are the guys that everyone's focusing on and everyone's super hype about for obvious reasons. Like, but like he's from Ole Miss, like he's just not like at that level. But I think whatever team gets him, we are going to see him take that next step. And like, you're going to see him just excel. And that's why, like I said, the Titans, I kind of want him on a team. And I think he's going to fall that, like, I don't think anyone's going to come in and take him early. If they do, it's because they watch this and they hear me hyping him up so much and they're getting super excited about him. But no, I just think he's going to fall and he's going to, especially there because they already have guys and like they make their playoff team. They're a great team, but they can't. We said it before, like they're a team we can't see them getting to the Super Bowl. Like they just do little things. And if like this guy comes out and executes and is just this stud guy for them, like that could be all they need to take them and give them that push. And I don't want them to, just because I don't want to say I don't like them, but like it's not that I don't like them. They're another team. Like for some reason, I feel weird rooting for, like, I can't just like sit down and be like, yes, I'm going to root for the Titans today. Like there are so many teams that I just love and get excited about. Cardinals, Dolphins. I love the Ravens. I love the Ravens and the Steelers, who are like complete enemies, but like, I don't even care. I love them both. So like, and the Titans are just not one of those teams for me, unfortunately. Maybe it's because they knocked the Ravens out of the playoffs. When they were literally like my everything that season. Maybe I'm just holding a grudge because I tend to do that, but I don't know. But like a team like them, Elijah Moore gets on and they kind of develop him. They give him that push and then he pops off. And that is kind of what I want to see from him.
Look, I'm here for it. I just hope that if that's true and that's the case,
he doesn't.
Don't let it be the time. And here's the thing. Like I said, growth and maturity. We're out here rooting for everybody, but that's not one of them. No offense.
Yeah, I like how we just preached. We're growing. And we're like, except the Titans.
Not the Titans. And nothing personal. It's just, well, actually, it's only personal. Let me say that. It's only personal. It's nothing like, nothing's wrong with you.
No, you're a good team.
I just have been bred for 26 years as a Jaguars fan. You are the enemy, the single enemy, right? The Colts are there, but even I was rooting for the Colts this year. I was like, look at what they're doing. That's fun. They're fun to watch. I'm excited. I wanted them to get in the playoffs. Like I was very much, although we kept them, on edge about that whole situation because they lost to us in week 1. But, I was like, from there on, I was like, yeah, I'm rooting for it. They're fun to watch. The Titans, I'm just not there. I'm not over it. I think as a true football fan, you just have to have that one team that you just don't like. And it's only personal because it's your team's rival.
Cowboys.
And I feel like that's completely fair. It's like I'm not talking down. I'm not saying anything about your franchise. The fact that I don't like you is a sign that you've been way too successful for my taste over the past few years. So That's where I'm at with the Titans. But
no, and I genuinely, and like you have like they're your Cowboys. Like if
yes.
So I totally get that. I don't even have like, they are. And I think that's it. Like they win. I'm telling you, I think I'm literally holding a grudge from when I wanted Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to be the super, like I wanted them to take it all. Like that was my team. I literally, one of my best friends is a Ravens fan. There was a meme on Twitter that was like, have your fans like, your Baltimore fans sign your bandwagon for him. And I literally had her like sign my permission slip and allow me to be this crazy Ravens fan that season. And then the Titans came out of nowhere and knocked him out of the playoffs. And I was like, are you kidding? Like, did that really just happen? And so I think it's nothing against them. They're a good team and they come in and they win games that like still shocked. I don't even know why I get shocked anymore because they keep doing it. There's clearly something there that's working, but I just can't get behind it. I don't know why.
You know what? I'm just not there yet. Give me time. I'm not going to be, I don't know that I will be there because I am just, it's my blood. It's what I was born into. I can't help it, but
no, yeah, I'll never be able to root for the Cowboys. The only time I ever rooted for the Cowboys was when Dak went down and I wanted them to come back and win. That was the only time I was ever like, I want the Cowboys to win this game.
Yeah. Also shout out Garrett Gilbert who started the next game and I was rooting for you the whole time. But anyways, I don't know. We'll get there one day, maybe. I think the Jags just need to win one Super Bowl in my lifetime and then I'll get over it.
Yes. No, that's fair. That's very fair.
Which I feel like is fair.
I'm even coming around to the Browns. I said that.
Look,
like it's on this episode. That came out of my mouth and I got excited about it. So who knows what the heck is about to happen right now.
# growth in 2021. But wait, before we go, I do want to talk. Did you see Trevor Lawrence's wedding photos?
Yes. The one question I have, why wasn't his father-in-law wearing a shoe? Did you see that?
One shoe got, no, I don't have a reason, but
I don't, but like I also cried at these. I was like, oh my God, she looked so beautiful. Like,
she did.
And everyone was like, why didn't he cut his hair? And I'm like, because that's the hair he's always had. Like, why would, like, they've been together forever. And all their old pictures, he has that old, like, that's him. Why would he cut his hair for, like, he's not going to change his appearance for his wedding. She knows who she's marrying.
He's also 21 years old. Like, can we put this into perspective? Like, this only hurts my soul slightly because I'm just like not that close to marriage at all. And I'm 26, but it's fine. We're fine. Yeah, that's a shower cry after this episode.
Yeah, no, a Taylor Swift shower cry.
Yeah. But yeah, he's 21. Maybe a little
car ride.
Yeah, he's 21. He's 21.
His whole thing, like his whole life is about, he's about to get drafted. He just got married. Like this kid is probably just on a high that I will never get to experience. Like,
yeah, no, I want to be on his level for sure. What I love the most about this whole thing is the Jaguars fans just had to involve themselves.
Yes, no, that was so cute. They found his registry.
Very cute. They bought him the $300 touchscreen toaster. They also bought him a $1,000 espresso machine, I believe. So they did purchase those items on behalf of Jaguar Twitter and Jaguar fans. And I just thought that was pretty cute, you know?
That is. It's like welcoming him.
Yeah. It's exciting.
That probably made him feel like because when you know your fan base is excited for you and your fan base is going to support you, like that probably just makes it like next level. Like he's probably so ready for the draft and then to come out and like that probably just like made everything 10 times more.
Yeah, it was pretty cute. It was fun to read.
Yeah, I'll give that to you. That was pretty adorable.
Yeah, I know. I was trying not to be a homer, but then I was like, no, it's pretty cute. I'm gonna bring it up.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That and then Aaron Rodgers hosting Jeopardy is pretty fun.
And him. Can we talk about for a sec? Him and Kaylee Woodley are so adorable.
Oh my gosh,
he makes him like giddy. Like he like smiles and like giggles when she's there. And I'm like, who are you? He was a man that like never talked about children, never talked about marriage. And now he's like, yeah, like I'll be a dad. I'll host Jeopardy. And I'm like, what is going on here?
He's blossoming into just a really dynamic character of a human being. And I love her, first of all. And so when I found that out, my heart was warm. And I'm realizing now that the last 10 minutes have been exactly what you'd expect when you see us talking about sports.
It's fine.
But, hey,
we've been so good. We had to get this out.
We did analysis for the first like 40 minutes of the show. So now we're talking about weddings and Jeopardy and relationships. Whatever.
But no, this is big headlines. It's all season. This is fair. This is absolutely valid.
It's fun. It's fun. I mean, look, I'm just upset that we're not getting draft puppies this year because it's not virtual anymore. So whatever.
I am excited though. It's so close. What are we at? Like almost 2 weeks? Literally.
2 weeks from tomorrow. Yeah.
2 weeks from tomorrow. Oh my God, it's happening.
I know, it's exciting.
These next 2 weeks are going to take, I believe, a decade off my life.
Especially
easily.
It's honestly in the Falcons.
I don't think I've spent more time ever in my entire existence thinking about the Falcons than I have in the last couple of weeks. Like I've never devoted this much time to this team. And now every second of every day, I'm like, honeys, what the heck are you about to do? Because like they could literally do like whatever they wanted. And then it changes the entire rest of everything. So it really scares me.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
I honestly want draft night. I don't want to even I want draft night to be like crazy. Like I want something insane to happen. Yeah.
Insane. Like I want pandemonium. Like I want the whole football world to turn upside down. I need it at this point.
That would be unreal.
Because it's like
in 2020, head into 2021, like let's just have massive chaos.
Look, I get no excitement from this. I already know what my team is going to do. So look, turn it upside down.
Yeah.
Throw a wrench in everyone's plan, please.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm here for it. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back next week. We will definitely be talking more draft stuff next week, but make sure to follow us on Instagram at Onside Chicks, on Twitter at Onside Chicks Pod. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitch. Subscribe on Twitch, follow us on Twitch. I don't know what it is on Twitch. Still new. I'm still new to that one. But yeah, we're getting there. But we'll catch you guys next Tuesday. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.